Penn State, Illinois preview. Penn State's going to be playing Illinois tomorrow on a Friday night, not on Saturday. The game time is set for 9 o'clock p.m. It's going to be at Illinois. Currently, Penn State's 3-0 and Illinois is 2-1. Penn State's coming off of a 63-10 win over Kent State, a team that Illinois has played this year. They won 31-24. Illinois is 2-1 this season, with a loss last week to South Florida. They were up in the fourth quarter, but South Florida was able to have an 18-point comeback in the fourth, and they were able to, mount the comeback and get the win over Illinois. Right now, I think the line is set at 27 or 28-point favorite for Penn State. That's pretty much what it's set at. Penn State's a pretty heavy favorite. Illinois, not a great team. They are rebuilding a lot. Last year, they started many true freshmen. They kind of said that we're going to use these guys as the core, and we're going to use, these in 3 years when they're seniors. Hopefully, they'll be really talented. We can continue to develop these guys with some nice recruits, and we can get ourselves back up into the top tier of the Big Ten that way. Still, last year was not a good year. It was kind of like a rebuilding year, a year to get those guys in. This year, they look a little bit better, but I don't know, because they almost lost to Kent State. But they almost beat South Florida. Now, South Florida, they're not the greatest thing on earth, but they're not a bad team. I mean, they're one of the better Power 5 teams out there, and they were hanging around. I mean, South Florida outgained them by over 200 yards, but Illinois was up by double digits going into the fourth quarter, and they could have very well won that game, even though maybe they would have been outplayed if they had won anyway. But I do think this Illinois team is a little bit better than they were last year, but I just don't know how much. And clearly, I can see on paper that Penn State is the better team. They got a better offense, clearly. And defensively, I think Penn State's better also. I don't think Penn State's offense should have much trouble scoring on this Illinois defense. Illinois' passing defense is not very good. Their secondary is not very good. Their their defense against the rush is not bad, but Penn State should be able to get going with the O line. They should be able to block. I don't know if their D line is going to be able to get a lot of pressure on McSorley, or if it will be able to, block up, clog up the running lanes for Miles Sanders and be able to hold him in line for the game. But I just don't know, because Illinois has some potential in this game, because a lot of the things they're not even involved with. The fact that it's a Friday night game, Penn State's a little bit out of routine. It's a trap game, kind of, because the Penn State plays Ohio State next week, so they could very well easily be getting caught looking ahead. They could be getting caught looking ahead. It's an away game. It's on a Friday night. They're not used to it. They're like Illinois. What are they gonna do? So Penn State's got to stay focused here. And the way that Illinois can hang around in this game is if the game stays close. And the reason why I say that is because Illinois, offensively, they're better at running the ball. They're not bad at passing it, but I don't think they want to be passing it that much, because Penn State, if Penn State can force Illinois to pass, they're going to be getting probably a decent amount of pressure on the quarterback. Penn State's been getting good pressure on the quarterback, except against App State, but even not bad there. Penn State will be able to probably pin its ears back, get pressure on the quarterback, flush him out of the pocket, or get sacks, or, and the secondary should be able to play pretty good lockdown D. And if he's pressured, he's not going to be able to make good throws, not going to have a lot of time to make the throw. So that is a way that they can do it. But if you let Illinois hang around and let them control the clock, control the time of possession, carry these long drives where they're running the ball, keep Penn State kind of off balance, maybe with an occasional pass, with the threat of a play action, and then possibly hang around in this game where it's a game at halftime, and then Penn State can never really take advantage of it. Where I think Illinois is a team that Penn State's got to get out on early, where if they can get the first score, get a stop, get a score, and if they can get up double digits pretty early and kind of force Illinois to pass, that's a big thing, I think, in this game. I think Penn State shouldn't have a lot of trouble offensively, but overall, I think I see this happening. I kind of see Penn State sleeping a little bit. I kind of see a little bit of a snoozy start. I think Penn State might have a little bit of a hard time getting going offensively. But the only really way I see Illinois possibly having the ability to pull off the upset is Penn State offensively starts really slow, and they're not really fin together. They maybe they have a turnover. Illinois gets a pick six or something, and they're just playing kind of sloppy. They kind of have some lulls. They're not getting any momentum going, and Illinois is keeping Penn State off balance. They're keeping these long drives. They're running the ball well. They're having an occasional pass here or there, and maybe they're in the locker room leading. Penn State comes out. They get a little bit of a surge going, but they can never really sustain that success because Illinois is able to take a lot of clock on these drives. Penn State's having a hard time stopping the run. That's not a real way I can really see it, but I could also see it being the other way, like the Illinois team that showed up against Kent State, and Penn State just completely pummels them from the start. Illinois can't stop them. Penn State's getting pressure on Illinois. They can't handle it, and Penn State wins by 60. I can honestly see it being like that because I could also see Illinois really making a game out of it. So I really don't know. But overall, I think I'm going to meet somewhere in the middle of what most people are picking. It's not really an exciting pick. It's a pretty boring pick, but I kind of see Penn State starting out kind of slow, but the offense is getting together. I think they're gonna make some plays. They're not gonna be real flashy plays, but they're gonna make the plays that are there. I think defensively it's gonna take some time for them to adjust. I think Illinois, they're gonna make some plays in the running game, and they might make some passing plays. But I think once Penn State's gonna establish a lead, I'm probably gonna say Penn State's up maybe like a 20-10 at half, maybe 17-17 or like a 21-10. I'll say about 10 points at half. And then I think Penn State's going to start to pull away, and then it'll be kind of it though the result will be not in doubt by midway through the third quarter, I think. I think that'll probably be about the time of Penn State you go, okay, we're up 3 scores now. We should have this game in the bag. And I think Penn State's going to eventually force Illinois to pass. I think they're going to get pressure. I think they're going to be able to get stops. I think they're going to make the adjustments necessary to stop Illinois. And I think Penn State's going to be able to continue to make plays offensively. I think look for a big game from Juwan Johnson and DeAndre Tompkins and some of the receivers. I think they need a big game, especially Juwan Johnson, to get back on track. Tompkins had a nice game last week, but he's got to continue to sustain that success. And I think Miles Sanders should have a nice week too at running back. I think Penn State should have a good game offensively. This Illinois defense isn't all that great, but I think, if Illinois wants to make a game out of it, they got to put up points, and they got to be able to get some turnovers from McSorley or, some fumbles, some plays where they can get some points that aren't like true points, where they're kind of gift wrap points. I think that's the way they can keep in it, but overall, at the end of the day, I'm going to pick 42-17 Penn State. I think Penn State's going to get in, get out with a win. It might not be pretty sometimes, but I think they're going to come out with a pretty sizable and comfortable win and be able to move on to Ohio State. I don't have them covering, but I do think it's going to be pretty close. I have them pretty much right around the over-under and just a couple points under the spread. I don't think they'll cover. But that's what it is. Got Penn State winning by 25, 45, 42-17. That's my pick. Peace out, guys.